Assalamualaikum. This is a review on W08T1 Anhydride. This is taken from Shaku Shade answer. Thanks. Before we begin, in general introduction to nomenclature of acid anhydride. So basically, the general formula is represented by C double bond O, O, C double bond O. The carbon for left and right can attach to either any type of hydrogen or alkyl group. If, let's say, we label this side as A and this side as B, we can classify the anhydride into two types. First one is what we call as the symmetrical. The other one is what we call as non-symmetrical. The idea of symmetrical and non-symmetrical is easy. If both number of carbon and also the structure is same for A and B, so this will be called as symmetrical. For instance, if we have a structure like this, there is two carbons, C double bond O, O, and then C double bond O, and another two carbon on the right side. This will be considered as symmetrical because both have the same number of carbon and then the structure is same. Alright, there is no other branches, there is no special addition towards uh, the structure for left and right is the same for A and also B. So this will be called as symmetrical. For asymmetrical, it can be looking like this. If on the right side, on the left side, we have three carbon, and on the right side we have only two carbon. So this can be considered as unsymmetrical. Right? There are two kind of anhydrides. So let's take a look at the answers. So the first three questions, A, B, and C, two of them is considered as symmetrical, which is A and also B. Because as you can see here, both sides showing you different number of carbon. Right, again, just like I showed you earlier, all right, on the right side, we have only two carbon, while on the left side, we have three carbon. Right, this makes it is not symmetrical. Now for the structure B, as you can see here, we have a benzoic structure and then we have an aliphatic structure. They also cannot consider as symmetrical. That's why this is unsymmetrical. And for C, as you can see here, both of number of carbon and also the shape of the carbon is also the same, which is linear. So this will be considered as symmetrical. So let's take a look one by one for the answer of the questions from the tutorial. Alright, for the first one, as you can see here, for the one side they have two carbon, you can see that we retain the name of the carboxylic acid. Alright, carboxylic acid end up with oic acid, and that also end up with oic acid. Except if you came across this structure where you have C double bond O meeting C double bond O attached to another C double bond O, you need to put anhydride at the back. Okay, we drop the acid name for the carboxylic acid, we replace it with anhydride. So in this case, for this side, there are two carbon attached to the O, so this will be considered ethanoic. As take note that the first carbon located at the C double bond O, and we're going to continue the numbering. For another C double bond O, we are going to also assign the first carbon there. Okay, we do not combine with the previous numbering. We need to treat both of the C double bond O as a separate numbering. So in this case, we have ethanoic on the right side, and then we have propanoic on the left side. Therefore, we arrange them ethanoic, propanoic, and anhydride. There is no acid there. There is no other adjustment to the OIC name. So The reason why I put ethanoic in front because of the letter. E comes before P, therefore we're going to write it as ethanoic. It is not because we did the structure, we arrange the structure based on the rule, which is need to rearrange them based on the alphabetical order. Okay, it is a three different words: ethanoic, propanoic, and anhydride. Okay, for B, similar as you can see here. First, we have an aliphatic structure with two carbon. All right, this is ethanoic, and then we have one carbon attached to the benzene. This we consider as benzoic, because if we draw the benzoic structure, it will look like this: C double bond O, OH. The structure is represented by the benzene, also C double bond O, is called as benz. Alright, so for carboxylate is benzoic acid. For this one, we consider it as anhydride because it has the anhydride structure of the C double bond O attached to O attached to the C double bond O. That's why we put the anhydride at the back. Just like the previous example, the benzoic comes first because we are arranging it based on the alphabetical order. Lastly, as you can see here, for propanoic anhydride, it has the same number of carbon, and then the arrangement is also the same for both sides. Again, this is what considered as symmetrical anhydride. So don't forget to put the anhydride at the back because it also comprises of C double bond O, O, C double bond O. Okay, as you can see, the counting is also being separated. Right, number one, number two, number three on the right side, and also number one, number two, and three on the left side. The difference between symmetrical and unsymmetrical is you need to only mention it once. Unlike unsymmetrical, you need to mention both sides because they have different structure. Right? For symmetrical, you only need to mention it once because they have the same structure. So the name will become propanoic anhydride. So the name for all of the compound is correct. Okay, ethanoic propanoic anhydride, benzoic ethanoic anhydride, and so propanoic anhydride. Alright, what about D1? Okay, this is also considered as unsymmetrical because one side having only 3 carbon, the other side having 4 carbon. Please take note, the first position belongs to the C double bond O. So on the right side we have propanoic. On the left side we have butanoic, and don't forget, identify it as anhydride. So when we arrange it, it will become butanoic, propanoic, anhydride based on the alphabetical order. To make the question a little bit harder, I can also add substituent. For instance, I can add substituent here, number 2, and number 3. Okay, I can have a methyl group, and number 2, I can also have a methyl group. So the name will become 3-methyl butanoic, 2-methyl propanoic anhydride. Again, the butanoic shall came first before the propanoic based on the alphabetical order. Right, that's how we make the question a little bit challenging. Right, just like previous topics, not only you should be able to convert the structure into name, you should also have the ability to convert the name into structure. So as you can see here, benzoic anhydride, we know that anhydride comprises of C double bond O attached to O attached to the C double bond O, whereby the first carbon is located at the C double bond O. So as you can see here, benzoic, this is not correct lah. If we numbering the structure, it's clearly stated that this is a butanoic. Okay, it's not benzoic. Remember guys, benzoic is a structure of benzene attached to the C double bond O. So if we draw the structure, it should be looking like this. From the name alone, we can predict that this is a symmetrical anhydride. Why? Because there is only one name at the front. Alright, if it is unsymmetrical, we're going to have two names. So the structure will be looking like this. Benzoyl. Okay, this is incorrect. This is incorrect. The correct structure is like this. Alright, then we have butanoic metanoic anhydride. Butanoic comprises of 4 carbons. Metanoic consists of first carbon, only one carbon. And then we should realize that the first carbon belong at the C double bond O. Again, draw the anhydride part first, which is C double bond O, O, and also C double bond O. And then continue the numbering. Butanoic having 4. Remember, guys, the first carbon already there, which is at the C double bond O. Number 2, number 3, and number 4. For metanoic, there's only one carbon without any further carbon attachment because there's only one carbon at the C double bond O. So this will be the correct structure. Right? Acetic anhydride is also known as ethanoic anhydride. Acetic is a common name. Right? Ethanoic, you know that ethanoic consists of 2 carbon, including this is carbon number 1, number 2, including the C double bond O structure. So we know that this is a symmetrical because there is only one name. And for the anhydride, so just draw the structure, make sure both sides having the same structure and the same number of carbon. Lastly, we have pentanoic propanoic anhydride. Penta is 5 carbon, while propanoic we have 3 carbon. Right? 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, we have the anhydride structure. So basically, yes, this is the structure that we are looking for.